120. For the record, there's 5 separate. One second. Mr. English, that last clip that we sent, or that we put on the screen, do you remember sending that clip to anybody, an officer?
I don't remember it, but I could have.
Okay. Mr. English, I'm going to play State's Exhibit 120A. I want you to tell me if you recognize it.
And Judge, if it'll save some time, I don't mind stipulating that all of the videos contained in 120 are authentic and from his Mr. English's video surveillance system. Just skip this step. It's okay.
Sure. I appreciate that. Dave?
I join in that, Your Honor, since they'll really be authenticated by other witnesses in the trial.
All right. I'll go for, let's just do a few frames, make sure he can identify them, and we won't have to go through the authentication side. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Mr. English, in this clip 120A, do you recognize what this is?
That's between my garage doors and the street.
And is it a view from a surveillance camera on your property?
Yes,
And it seems to be a daytime clip. Does that look correct?
yes,
And you remember taking multiple clips from this same time frame? From different angles, different cameras in your house?
I don't remember that day.
Okay. I'm going to put up one more. I'm going to put up 120B to see if you... Is that a different angle?
I remember it, yes.
Okay, so there's multiple angles taken from that day?
I guess so, yes.
Now, at this time, State moves to place 120 and the 5 associated clips in evidence.
Objection.
No objection, Your Honor, but for the record, are they A, B, C, D, E? Is that how?
They are, and I'll go through them and have them.
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor. The record, I'm playing 120B. And is this the inside of your house, sir?
Yes,
Where my arrow's pointing, what is this a picture of?
car garage,
And on the left side?
RV boat garage.
And does this look similar to nighttime clips that we saw previously?
They're similar.
For the record, I'm going to put up 120C. the record, I'm gonna put up 120D. And 120E. Mr. English, we see some of the same, or do we see some of the same items in this house or in this construction site in the daytime as the nighttime, same as the nighttime?
Yes.
Okay. And from your knowledge, at this point, has anything ever been taken or
No.
disturbed?
No, anything.
And do you remember if you called the police this day, during this daytime clip?
I don't think I did.
Okay, do you remember the date that this clip was taken?
I may not be correct, but I think it's the day that Mr. Arbery got shot.
Okay. Do you remember if you called any neighbors that day?
I did.
Do you remember who you called?
I called, Diego.
Okay.
After the shooting had taken place.
Mr. English, at some point, did you send, you've seen a variety of surveillance clips today, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did you ever send these to your lawyer?
My lawyer?
Your lawyer, yes.
I could have, I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay. And who is your lawyer?
Beth Grady.
Okay. Do you remember whether your family had sent any clips to you, to Ms. Grady? Grady?
Not that I know of. My wife might have sent them for me, I don't know.
Okay. But you remember her obtaining clips from you, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor, who, and it sounds as if we're reading again.
Sure.
Let's clean up with the direct question.
Did you ever send any clips to your lawyer?
Not that I remember.
Does your security cameras, do they capture the date and time that things occur?
Repeat the question, please.
Yes, sir. Do your security cameras capture the date and time when they're recording?
Yes. Yes.
Do you remember ever looking at the date and time on these clips when you were recording them or sending them to officers?
No.
Do you know if the date and time was accurate?
I guess they would be if they go by Wi-Fi. I'm assuming maybe the dates was automatically recorded. That's all I can know about that.
Mr. English, I'm going to turn and talk to you about some of the relationships of people in your neighborhood that you may have, okay? Do you know a person by the name of Diego Perez?
I know of him, not personally, never met him in person.
How do you remember Mr. Perez? How did you first come in contact with him?
The best I can recall, the neighborhood had found out about some of these situations and instances, and I want to thank that Diego reached out to me, and I want to thank my text, offering his help. If ever needed to call him, if I seen somebody on the property and I wasn't there, our yards connect, there was 1 yard in between us, but there was not fences. Cutting his property off of mine, he offered to go over there and check it out if I needed him to.
And so you communicated with Diego through text messages, is that correct?
I don't remember texting him very much. I don't know if I ever texted him, maybe once.
Okay.
Maybe a phone call or two.
Okay.
And the day that I called him might have been once, second, third, I don't know. Might have been the first time I ever called him.
Okay. And did you give Mr. Perez permission to go on your property to check things out from time to time?
Yes.
And do you remember showing some of these surveillance clips of anybody walking around in your house to neighbors?
I don't remember showing anybody. I could have, I'm just saying I don't remember.
Yes, sir. And if you're looking at your house at 220 Satilla, Mr. Perez, does he live to your left or right?
To the left,
Do you know how many houses down?
there's one house in between us.
And who's that house between you?
Kenny Wade,
Kenny Wade?
yeah.
Do you know a person by the name of Matt Albenze?
I don't know the last name, but I know Matt.
You know a Matt?
Yes,
Do you remember whether you ever showed some of the surveillance to Matt?
possibly. Matt would come, like he was pointing out the mailboxes.
Uh-huh.
Matt was one of the people that has the mailbox there. Matt usually walks over and checks his mail, and I'm under the garage a lot of times working, and Matt may come up there and talk to me, and I could have showed Matt that.
Yes, sir. And do you remember a person by the name of Ronnie Olson or John Olson?
There's Ronnie across the street, I don't know the last name.
Okay. Is it Ronnie across the street from you?
Yes,
Okay, and you know that person?
I just know of him.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he walked over also and spoke, but that's about it.
Sure. And he lives directly across the street from you?
Yes,
Did you personally ever put any of these surveillance videos on social media?
no,
Do you know a person by the name of Travis McMichael?
yes.
Okay. And how do you know that person?
Travis, best I remember, is the son of the youngster too, and when I had my dock under construction, I was down on the dock one evening, there was a big barge and crane on the water where they was building my dock, and I was standing on my dock in a little small wooden boat with a gentleman and a small boy come up to where the job site was at, and we spoke for 15 minutes or so.
Was that your only interaction with Mr. McMichael, with Travis McMichael?
Yes,
Do you know where Mr. Travis McMichael lived?
vaguely, I don't know how many houses down it is. I mean, I know the house whenever I pass it by trucks, but I can't tell you how many houses down it is.
And would that be to your left or to your right when you're looking at the
If it's to
front?
the left, on the further side of Diego, going past my house and Diego's house.
you know what sort of vehicle Mr. Travis McMichael drove?
The only vehicle I remember right off is a gray Ford truck. I don't know if that was Gregory or if that was Travis's truck.
And that was a Ford truck?
Yes.
Do you know a person by the name of Greg McMichael?
Yes.
And how do you know that person?
Greg came to my house one evening out in front of my garage. We had a conversation. A few minutes after we had started talking, his wife came up and he introduced her, and we talked. Couldn't tell you anything specific we talked about, just kind of small talk. I don't remember any of the details. That's the first time that I had ever met Gregory McMichael.
Yes, sir. Did you ever have any other interactions with Mr. Greg McMichael?
I did.
And tell me about that.
I know it was after the shooting, and I was putting tools in my job trailer, and he approached me that day, and we was talking, and some of it was talking about what had happened, and he made a comment that he wished people wouldn't be talking about it on social media.
And at that point, had you talked to the media at all about the shooting?
I think I had one, maybe two, I'm not certain, but I had talked to somebody.
Okay. Did you give TV interviews or audio interviews?
I knew that I had done an audio interview. I'm not sure if there was a TV interview that had been done at that time or not.
At some point, have you given a TV interview to anybody?
Yes,
And who was that?
Chris Cuomo on CNN.
On CNN, Cuomo on CNN?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you remember any other TV stations?
I want to say Jack's 4, but might not be right on that. I'm not sure.
You said
They
Jack's.
whoever it was came out and interviewed me and videoed it in a video. I do remember that, but I don't know exactly what channel. But
Yes, sir. You said that was Jack's 4?
I think so.
Okay. And you said it was at your BER?
Yes.
Is that a different property?
Do what?
That was at a different property?
Yes, that was in Douglas, Georgia.
And at any point during your interactions with the McMichaels, did you ever give them permission to go on your property, express permission?
No,
Did you ever tell them they couldn't go on your property?
no,
Did you ever personally tell the McMichaels about any prior incidents at your house?
probably, I'm not sure.
During the course of your conversations with police officers that responded to your house, over the course of the times that you called 911, did you ever tell any of those police officers whether anybody took anything from your house?
Not that I remember.
At some point, did you learn that somebody had been shot near your property?
Repeat the question, please.
At some point, did you learn that somebody had been shot near your property?
Yes,
Do you remember that day?
yes.
Do you remember what you were doing that day?
I was in the BR working. I wasn't working, but I had two men with me that was working.
Okay. remember ever calling the police about any incident like that day?
No.
Do you remember talking to any neighbors about it that day?
Yes.
And who was that?
Diego.
And at some point, did you check your surveillance camera
I did.
about that day?
Yes.
And did you see anything?
And I saw part of the clip, the last clips that you showed.
And you remember emailing those clips to anybody?
No.
Do you remember receiving any sort of video from anybody that day?
No, not really. I don't recall. Well, I believe Diego sent me a short clip. I think he might have sent me, I mean, it was probably a text.
Do you remember what that was of?
It was a distance from where the scene was of the shooting. And I think I may remember a fire truck being in the background. Fire truck or ambulance, I'm not sure.
Out of all the times the police came to your house, were you generally satisfied with their response?
Yes.
Do you feel like they did a thorough job?
Yes.
At some point, do you remember giving interviews to any law enforcement regarding anything?
Interviews?
Interviews, yes.
No.
Do you remember if anybody from the GBI ever went to your house?
Oh, yes.
And do you remember talking with them?
Yes.
Do you know how many different GBI agents you would talk to?
3 or 4, maybe more.
Do you remember speaking with somebody named Seth Hollander?
No.
Do you remember speaking with somebody named, with the last name Seacrest?
I maybe remember that last name a little bit, but that's all.
And do you happen to remember the dates that they came out?
The date?
Yeah.
No.
One second, Jerome.